Sir Hudibras, his passing worth, the manner how he sallied forth, his arms and equipage are shown, his horse's virtues and his own. The adventure of the bear and fiddle is sung, but breaks off in the middle. When civil dungeon a first grew high, and men fell out, they knew not why. When hard words, jealousies, and fears set folks together by the ears, and made them fight like mad or drunk, for damn religion as for punk, whose honesty they all durst swear for, though not a man of them knew wherefore. When gospel trumpeter, surrounded with long-eared rout, to battle sounded, and pulpit drum ecclesiastic was beat with fist instead of a stick, then did Sir Knight abandon dwelling, and out he rode a colonelling. A wight he was, whose very sight would entitle him mere of knighthood, that never bent his stubborn knee to anything but chivalry, nor put up blow but that which laid rightful worship on shoulder blade, chief of domestic knights and errant, either for cartel or for warrant, great on the bench, great in the saddle, that could as well bind over as swaddle. Mighty he was at both of these, and styled of war as well as peace. So some rats of amphibious nature are either for the land or water, but here our authors make a doubt whether he were more wise or stout. Some hold the one, and some the other, but whosoever they make a pother, the difference was so small, his brain outweighed his rage but half a grain, which made some take him for a tool that can navs do with work, called a fool, and offer to lay wagers that, as Motan, playing with his cat, complains she thought him but an ass, much more she would Sir Hudibras, for that's the name our valiant knight to all his challenges did write. But they're mistaken very much, 'tis plain enough he was no such. We grant, although he had much wit, he was very shy of using it, as being loath to wear it out, and therefore bore it not about, unless on holy days, or so as men their best apparel do. Beside, 'tis known he could speak Greek as naturally as pigs squeak. That Latin was no more difficile than to a blackbird 'tis to whistle. Being rich in both, he never scanted his bounty unto such as wanted, but much of either would afford to many that had not one word for Hebrew roots, although they're found to flourish most in barren ground. He had such plenty as sufficed to make some think him circumcised. And truly so, he was perhaps not as proselyte, but for claps. He was in logic a great critic, profoundly skilled in analytic. He could distinguish and divide a hair twixt south and southwest side, on either which he would dispute, confute, change hands, and still confute. He'd undertake to prove by force of argument a man's no horse. He'd prove a buzzard is no fowl, and that the Lord may be an owl, who, a calf, an alderman, a goose, a justice, and rooks, committeemen, and trustees. He'd run in debt by disputation and pay with ratiocination. All this by syllogism true, in mood and figure he would do. For rhetoric he could not ope his mouth, but out there flew a trope, and when he happened to break off in the middle of a speech or cough, he had hard words ready to show why, and tell what rules he did it by. Else, when the greatest art he spoke, you'd think he'd talk like other folk. For all a rhetorician's rules teach nothing but to name his tools. His ordinary rate of speech in loftiness of sound was rich, a Babylonish dialect, which learned pedants much affect. It was a party-colored tress of patched and piebald languages. 'Twas English cut on Greek and Latin, like fustian heretofore on satin. It had an odd, promiscuous tone, as if he had talked three parts in one, which made some think, when he did gabble, that they had heard three labours of Babel, or Cerberus himself pronounced a leash of languages at once. This he as volubly would vent as if his shock would never be spent, and truly to support that change he had supplies as vast and large, for he could coin or counterfeit new words with a little or no wit. Words so debased and hard, no stone was hard enough to touch them on, and when with hasty noise he spoke 'em, the ignorant forecurrent took them. That had the orator, who once did fill his mouth with pebble stones, when he harangued, but known his phrase, he would have us used no other ways. In mathematics he was greater than Tycho Brahe or Erapter, for he by geometric scale could take the size of pots of ale, resolve by sines and tangents straight, if bread or butter wanted weight, and wisely tell what hour of the day the clock does strike by algebra. Beside, he was a shrewd philosopher, and had read every text and gloss over. Whatever the crabbedest author hath, he understood by implicit faith. Whatever skeptic could inquire for every why he had a wherefore, knew more than 40 of them do, as far as words and terms could go. All which he understood by rote, and, as occasion served, would quote, no matter whether right or wrong, they might be either said or sung. His notions fitted things so well, that which was which he could not tell, but oftentimes mistook the one for the other, as great clerks have done. He could reduce all things to acts, and knew their natures by abstracts, where entity and quiddity, the ghosts of defunct bodies fly, where truth in person does appear, like words congealed in northern air. He knew what's what, and that's as high as a metaphysic wit can fly. In school divinity as able as he that height irrefragable, a second Thomas, or at once, to name them all, another Dunce, profound in all the nominal and real ways, beyond them all, for he a rope of sand could twist, as tough as learned Sarbonist, and weave the fine cobwebs fit for skull that's empty when the moon is full, such as take lodgings in a head that's to be let unfurnished. He could raise scruples dark and nice, and after solving them in a trice, as if divinity had catched the itch on purpose to be scratched, or like a mountebank did wound and stab herself with doubts profound, only to show with how small pain the sores of faith are cured again. Although by woeful proof we find they always leave a scar behind. You want to see my scar from knowing about this poetry? Let me show you in my video what my room looks like right now. Look. See? I'm doing spring cleaning here. And costume designing and decoration organization. And I just ship and deliver things in and out of the house between here and my storage sheds and garage. And definitely this is an example of how doing art like this does take a lot of effort, because lifting a lot of these things over time, like lifting up packages here there, does take a lot of effort out of me. And wow, geesh, it's very exhausting. You can see the sweat here. And you know what's funny about this hat? This is actually a Scottish Tamby hat. Yeah, so I tricked you there, English people. Okay, take care. Happy holidays.